Hello everybody, this is Sala and you guys are welcome to this exciting course on C Sharp. In this course, we are learning C Sharp step by step. As you guys know, we have been discussing and learning collections in C Sharp. We talked about linear, two-dimensional and checked array, and in the last lecture, we winded up list collection. Now the last collection on our list is dictionary collection, which we are going to cover in this lecture. Dictionary is a different collection. In the dictionary, we do not work with index values. It actually holds data in key value pairs. Key value like data structure you will find in every programming language. For example, in JavaScript, objects are key value structure. In PHP, we have associative arrays which are based on keys and values. And the Python language also has dictionary data structure. So it's an important data structure to learn and understand. Let's move on and learn to create this interesting data structure. The first thing here is a declaration. How do we declare and create a dictionary variable? In the comments, I will simply show you the general syntax of the dictionary. A dictionary is also a generic and dynamic collection, just like the list collection. You only need to remember this thing. When we create a dictionary, we start with the dictionary keyword, and in the parentheses, we first mention the data type of the key. We can write here key type, and then we mention the data type of the value type. And then the process is the same. For example, my dictionary new, and now we will repeat the same data type and the constructor key type and value type. This is a general syntax for declaring or creating a dictionary. Now let's say I want to create a dictionary where the key is employee ID and the value is employee name. For both the types, I can choose the data type string. The string will work here. And now I will choose the name of the dictionary. For example, the name of the dictionary is employees new dictionary. Here comes the suggestion, and that's it. So we have simply created a dictionary where the key is for ID and value is for employee name. In this declaration, I have chosen a string for both the values, but you can have different types for the key and the value. For example, we are going to create another dictionary where the key is product name and the value is product price. The first value is for the key and key is product's name. So the best data type here is string, and for the price, we can choose decimal or we can choose double. And now once again, the name, product and price like this. So see, we have two different dictionaries, employees and product and price. And in the second dictionary, the key is product name and the value is price. And we are using different data types for the key and for the value. That was the declaration and the creation of a dictionary. Let's move on. When the dictionary is created, you will definitely populate it with the data. And for that, we have add method. Let's say in the employees dictionary, we are going to call the add method like this. The first value here is the key value, which is ID in the string form, comma, and the second value is the employee name. Let's say the employee name is Bob. We can insert another employee using the add method, and now here the key value or the ID is 002 and the employee is Sarah. Let's insert another employee. You can think of a dictionary just like a table, two columns table, where a single row represents an object, but the data is divided into two different columns, such as 001 represents the Bob, 002 represents Sarah, and 003 represents Tony. Now, the same way, using the add method, we can insert data in our second dictionary. So on the product and price, we will call the add method. Let's say the product name is RAM and the price is $500. Let's insert another product, and this time the product name is CPU and the price is $750, and another product is power supply and the price is $200. So we now have two different dictionaries and both of them have some data, and the data is in key value pair. Let's now talk about the initialization. What did we do? We created or declared a dictionary, and in the next step we added data using the add method. But you know, all the variables, arrays and objects can also be initialized at the time of their creation. The same rule applies here. We can initialize a dictionary at the time of its creation. So in order to initialize a dictionary, you will use this syntax. Just remove the parentheses. Now open the curly braces, and inside these two curly braces, every pair will also have their own curly braces, I mean key value pair, and inside these pairs we will provide the data. You can copy and paste the same data. This is called initialization. We are doing the same thing as before, but this time we are inserting the data at the time of the creation. Now, in order to initialize a dictionary, we also have another syntax. The syntax that you see here is a very common syntax. This syntax is readable, but there is another syntax you can use if you want. This another syntax is called initializer syntax. So let me show you the syntax. We use square brackets like this on both the sides of the key, and assignment is used to assign the value to the key. Here you have the initializer syntax. You can use any one syntax that you like. Things are the same, but the way we write them is different. Let's move on, as we now know how to declare and initialize a dictionary. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you is an important one. The keys in the dictionary must always be unique. You are not allowed to duplicate or repeat any key. For example, in our employees dictionary, I am going to add another employee, and this time I am going to duplicate the key. For example, 001. As you can see, the 001 is already used with the employee Bob, and the employee name is Trump. Our compiler is not showing any error, and even the error list is empty. Now, let's run the program and see what happens. And here you see the exception within no time. Argument exception. An item with the same key has already been added as key. Right? So we are not allowed to duplicate the key values or simply the keys. So that was something you need to be very careful about while working with the dictionary. Let's move on. Once you have dictionary with data, you definitely need to read out the values. To read out the values, we use key values. There is no index concept. Like in the arrays or the list, we use index values to read out the components. But here, we will use the keys. Now, for example, in the console right line, we will call our dictionary large brackets, and inside the large brackets, we will provide the key. Let's say the key is 002, and this line of code will simply return the value Sarah. Now, from the second dictionary, the name is product and price. We are going to read out, let's say, CPU, and here you will get the price $750. Let's run the program and check the output. And let's see in the output, right? The employee Sarah and the price 750. So in a dictionary, keys are used to read out value. Now, what will happen if we provide a key that does not exist in the dictionary? For example, I provide a key 005 that does not exist. Our program will simply throw an exception. So let's run the program and see what happens. And so you see the exception, key not found exception. So if you provide a key that does not exist, our program simply crash. And that's why in order to save our program from crashing, we perform a simple check before reading out the value using the key. The contains key method is actually used to find out if a key is a part of the dictionary or not. Contains key method returns a boolean value. If the key is found, the value is true, otherwise false. Let's say the key we want to read, we have in a variable, and key is the same, 001. 001 is Bob. Before we use this key on the dictionary, we will simply call the contains key method and we provide the key we want to read out. And if this method returns true, that means this key 001 is a part of the dictionary, and so we can simply read out the value. Let's provide the variable key here. We can also print the key here. For example, employee ID, employee name, like this. So this is a safer way to access the values of the dictionary. Let's now run the program and check the output. And so see the output in the console, right? Employee ID 001 and employee name is Bob. Now let's say if I try to provide an ID that does not exist, 009, we would never come inside this if statement because the contains key method gonna return a false value. Our program will not crash and we'll see nothing in the console, right? Now, in order to update and modify you to the same, you assign a new value to the key. And you always use contains key method to make sure if the key is a part of the dictionary or not. Now let's say you want to update the name Tony and the key is 3. So let's change the key. Key contains will return the true value. And this time we will update the value first and then print the data. So employees key, and let's update the data or the value Tony Johansson. Now as we run the program, you will see the name is simply updated. So let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console, right? Employee name is simply updated, Tony Johansson. Another very common operation that we apply on the dictionary is the remove operation. And for that, we have remove method. This method is very safe. If the key is found, the method will simply remove the pair, key value pair, and return the true value. On the other hand, when the key is not found, method simply returns the false value. Now, for example, from our second dictionary, product and price, I wanna, let's say, remove this pair, key value pair, RAM. So I will simply call the remove method and save the result in a boolean variable. Let's provide the key here, which is RAM. If this key is found, this line of code from the list will be deleted and a true value is returned. Now we can set a true value and inform the user. That's it. As you run the program, you will see item is removed in the console because the key RAM is a part of the product and price dictionary. So let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console, right? Item is removed. As you know, the method remove returns boolean values. We can also call this method directly inside the if statement, like if things will be the same. Now we know how to create a dictionary and how to add, remove, and update its values. The last thing that we need to know is looping through a dictionary. And this one is interesting. We can loop through a dictionary in 3 different ways. If you are interested in both keys and values, you can loop through both of them and print them out in the console. Or you can only loop through the keys or only the values, right? There are 3 different possibilities. Let's learn all of them one by one. Now this time we are going to loop keys and values. And the dictionary we are going to loop here is the employees. The for each loop is the ideal loop for this purpose. Our collection here is the dictionary and the name is employees. Let's say the variable here is emp, and here comes a special value which is called key value pair, and the data types of key is a string, and for the value we also have a string. So instead of the type dictionary, we use, for example, dictionary. In normal cases, we use key value pair. And now using this value emp, we can access the keys and the values. So for example, in console.writeLine, we can print the values. For example, emp dot keys space and emp dot values, and we are missing the loop parenthesis. So this is how you can simply loop through both the keys and the values. Let's run the program and you will see complete pairs in the output. And to see the output in the console, right? Here you have the keys and here you have the values. Now the second thing here is loop only the keys. Once again, for each loop, and now the collection, we need to filter out our collection, but this time we only want to loop through the keys. So we need to filter out the values and provide only the keys to the loop, and the data type of the keys is strings. We need to change the type here, and the loop variable is k. Now in the right line, we simply provide the value k. It will print all the keys in the console. Let's run the program and check the output, and so you see the output in the console, right? All the keys. Now the last one is the values. How do we loop through only the values? Let me just copy and paste. The code gonna be a bit similar. Now we are going to filter out the keys and will only select the values, and the data type of the values is also strings. We don't need to change the type here. Loop variable we can change. Let's say instead of k, we have variable v. This loop gonna loop through all the values of the implied dictionary, and you will see values in the output. Let's run the program and check the result, and so you see all the values in the console. So my dear listeners, that was a dictionary collection in C#. Now we have covered this entire collection section. We now know linear array, 2-dimension array, checked array, list, and dictionary. It's now time to move on and learn new and interesting concepts. In the next lecture, we will talk about string class. We have been working with the string data type throughout this course, but now we will look closer to the string construction and the string memory representation, etc. I will see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching this one.